You know I love you forever, but what am I so afraid of? I'm afraid of pension fund socialism came to America. The unseen revolution. The unseen revoluciones. Let's start with this, my friends, mi amigos. Let's say quick prayers. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we just pray for all those people affected by hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, earthquakes, fires. We just pray for those people who are homeless, who've lost loved ones. Just please give them relief, good Lord. We pray these things in Jesus' name, amen. I feel so bad for people who've lost everything. I can't imagine. Can't even imagine. Can we talk about why you don't put everything money-wise in the home? Yeah, that's a great point, Kirk. Yeah, why don't put everything money? That's a great point, man. That is a great point, Kirk. And the reason why it's a great point is because you're a smart guy because you have 4 kids. And you're not going to be smart without, no one who has 4 kids is dumb. Right? You got St. Paul. St. Paul's in the house. That's something I think about a lot too. Think about all the equity that you have in your house. All right. And let's just presume that your insurance, for some reason, what it could put. You have all this equity in your home and you don't have enough savings. You know what I'm saying? Or you basically did what I did, which was put more and more money into your house, i.e. by paying down your mortgage, less money into your portfolio. And now the home goes bye-bye. Hey, right on, David. Chuck B from Winchester. The home goes bye-bye, and you got nothing to show for in your portfolio because your portfolio hasn't been fed, essentially. You know what I'm saying? You can say the exact same thing in the other regard, too. If the portfolio went down 57% and your home has got a mortgage, I get it, both sides. But, just because you have equity in your house doesn't inherently mean anything until you can convert that equity into some kind of cash that you can use. The real thing about having equity in your home isn't so much the equity. It is, don't get me wrong. It's to not have the mortgage payment. I can't stress this enough. Hey, what's up, man? What's up, man? I forgot your first name, brother. Look at that big old boat that guy's riding. He's like, look at his boat. I'm in the Navy. Let's get our sailor suits on. I'm in the Merchant Marines. How many women are on a Merchant Marine ship? Capitan, Northern Captain. How many women are on a Merchant Marine ship? I'm saying 5% are on the Marines. That's probably cultural to an extent. Certain folks put their house first, others put car. Well, I'm just saying, it's like the nice thing about not having a mortgage isn't so much the equity, it's the lack of a cash flow outflow, if that makes sense. So for me, having the equity is great, but not having to pay my $3,500 a month mortgage, that's $42,000 a year, my friends. $42,000 a year I've got to come up with in order to pay my mortgage. You see what I'm saying? It's not. I end up paying about $4,000 a month. Yeah, my real mortgage is only about $3,000. It's about $2,800, but I pay $4,000 a month. So that's $48,000 a year, which means I have to generate the income to get the $48,000 a year, which is money I have to pay taxes on, FICA 7.65 income tax. So it costs what, $55,000 to generate the $48,000 just so I could live in this house to pay the mortgage. So when you don't have the mortgage, you got equity, don't get me wrong, but you also have the payment. And from a cash flow perspective, that's huge. Oh, 100%, man. 100%. Gary, look at Gary. Oh, Gary Rockwell. Gary's rocking well. He and his better half. And trust me, his better half as much as, look, ain't nothing wrong with Gary, but his better half as much as his better half. You know what I'm saying? Gary married not just up, he married up twice, times 2. Anyway, he says, owning your home paid off helps lessen effective inflation on your budget. Home insurance is getting crazy as health insurance. It really is. It's crazy. And we're watching the football game right now. You know what I'm saying? And come on, man. Look, if you want to win, Chargers, you got to feed Lad McConkey, man. You got to feed Lad. Oh, yeah. Feed your yard, whatever that guy is, Scott's. You got to feed the lad. Feed the lad. And of course, they're not, so they're not winning. But let's see. Jill says, I thought about it a lot. My paid off home is less than 25% of my net worth. Being house poor isn't my cup of tea. Yeah, 100%, Jill. That's the thing. If you have a house but no... all right, hold on a second. If you have a house but no liquidity, that's. I mean, it's great to have a mortgage, but you still need money. Have your kids move over and take your mortgage payments. What I'm actually hoping to do at some point is, if anyone wants to live around here, and probably I'd actually sell my house to a steep discount to one of my kids. That's what I would do. I mean, it sounds good in theory. Who knows? But I mean, I think that's important to, like we give our cars to the kids. We want to help them as much as we can. You know what I'm saying? And because if we weren't, not from my parents, but my grandparents, they gave us the money for the down payment on this. Well, they didn't give it to us. They died, but they gave it through the estate for the down payment on this house. And if we did not get that, we would not have been able to afford this house. And as such, it's a big deal. And we want to, do the same for my own children. Anyway, but that's a good point, Kirk. Put everything money wise now. But just think too, how many people got like cash in there? You know what I'm saying? Keeping 10, 20,000 savings bonds. You know what I'm saying? Just cash money. It may be a fireproof box, but is it really a fireproof box if the flames are going at 2,000 degrees or something like that? So you guys want to hear my conspiracy theory? Jill, you'll get it. Did I already email this to you, Jill? I don't think I emailed this to you. Yeah, maybe Jill and I. Yeah, I think we were. So here's my conspiracy theory. I think I was sharing this with Jill, or maybe she shared it with me. I can't remember. Why did Pacific Palisades burn? Right? Well, who lives in Pacific Palisades? A lot of rich Hollywood types who know who those rich Hollywood types know. Oh, the P. Diddler. They all know P. Diddler. So they burned Pacific Palisades. I don't know anything about Pacific Palisades. It sounds like Beverly Hills 90210, whatever that stupid show's called. Because they had the receipts on P. Diddler and probably Jay-Z as well. So they had to burn the evidence. I did email that to Joe because remember when Hillary Clinton, like 2015 or something like that, one of the office buildings in DC, the 7th floor of some office building in DC caught on fire. And that's where all the receipts were against Hillary. But somehow the rest of the office building was fine. Kind of weird, isn't it? But Hillary's office was caught on flames and everything was burnt. So if Epstein would killed himself, then yeah, there's some Pacific Palisades that just happened to have the Santa Ana winds just happened to take over the whole freaking thing. Just like Epstein didn't kill him, just like Epstein killed himself. But it's to get rid of the evidence of P. Diddler. That's my conspiracy theory. And man, tell me that's not fun to think about. You coming in, you stand up, buddy. Hey, what do you think about that? Not everything's a conspiracy, Josh. You're right. Not everything is conspiracy. I completely agree. But that doesn't mean nothing's a conspiracy. It's silly to say that. Oh, but not everything's a conspiracy. Let's see. Typically 5 to 10% of women crew members on emergent ships in my experience. Yeah. Andrew thought a 1,300 mortgage payment was steep. Well, Andrew, I mean, we got 4 kiddos here. Don't get me wrong. Now, with that said, we had our first mortgage, and when we lived in Virginia. No, this is our second mortgage when we lived in Virginia. We had 3, if you want to call them 3 full bedrooms, 1 bath. We had, I think it was $700 a month. That was what 2000? Yeah, 2001. Yeah, 2001. I want to say $697 a month back then. Oh no, pick 6, dude. I don't even care about the Texans. I just know what's going to happen. The Texans are going to play Kansas City. Kansas City's going to blip up on them. And the Kansas City will go and they'll play a hurt Bills team or Ravens team, and then Kansas City will sneak back in the Super Bowl. This is the exact same thing the Chiefs are doing that the Patriots used to get away with. They're not, as a Patriots fan, it's great. You get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. You play a weak Texans team or a weak Colts team or something like that. Then you get the AFC Championship. A lot of times, in this case, the Patriots would squeak by against Jacksonville. They squeak by against Baltimore, but they squeak by, and next thing you know, in the Super Bowl, and sometimes the ball bounced our direction, sometimes it didn't. But all right, if I have investments in Fidelity, which I pay into every month, and when it matches, I will pay off. When it matches, I'll pay off my mortgage. Oh, gotcha, right on. Yeah, I think about that too, David. I think about that too. But then the annuity video he ran out of money a handful of times, but in the end of the scenario, you said there's money left over. Annuity video. Marie's like too busy waiting for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and she's still hungover from Penn State's loss. In the annuity video, he ran out of money a handful of times, but in the end of the scenario, he said there was money left over. In the years he ran out of money. So I think what you're saying, Marie, is that on that variable annuity, even if the cash value goes to zero, it will continue to pay as long as you're alive. All right. So when I say he ran out of money, he ran out of. I assume this is what you're referring to. So even if there's two components of an annuity in this regard, you got the income base, which will never go away, and you got the cash value base. The cash value base is what you could say, hey, annuity company, send me a check. I want to, cancel this contract. All right. Hold on a second. Man, was it pick six? Was it pick six? Huh? Oh my! Well, how interception? So the Chargers, when we go see the Chargers and play the Falcons, the Chargers just barely beat the Falcons. The Chargers get stamped by Tampa Bay, got just stomped by them. And now the Chargers root for the Chargers. They can't do anything. So the one time I don't root for the Chargers, I'm not a big Chargers fan, but they beat my team, and I was at the game. In fact, we were supposed to go to see the Atlanta Hawks today, but they canceled because of icy conditions. Crazy. So the Chargers, when I want them to win, they lose. When I don't want them to win, they win. There you go. All right. So anyway, Murray. So in this case, he had his cash value component went down to zero, but he's always going to get that income stream as long as he's breathing. That's what you're paying those exorbitant fees on those annuities. And now, what could happen? I said he ran it, but did he just take more from? Yeah. So he didn't. There wasn't. He didn't take any more from his account because there's nothing left. It's just the annuity will continue to pay. Mel Gibson said there could be another Luigi arson guy. Oh, I guarantee, dude. They 100%. 100%. That's safest are rated in minutes of certain temps. There are no fireproof safes. Yeah, all right. Very good. So, I mean, I literally think there's no way this is just accidental. I mean, my goodness. But what are you going to do about it? I mean, it's like, okay. There's American Legend. Medicaid denied coverage of my meds. It's okay, though. I'm about to drop a quarter of the dosage real soon. Okay. Maui as well. My thoughts, a global warming scare tactic. That's what I was saying on my Facebook thing. I was saying, be wary of Oprah. When Oprah comes knocking, we're here to help. She's got her checkbook out to buy cheap property, if you know what I'm saying. Kevin said he did his fourth news interview at the Citrus Connection bus terminal in Lakeland, Florida. All right, cool, man. He will be on WTSP Channel 10 News. This year is my 21st working there. Right on, man. Yeah, Jill said there's some really extra weird stuff going on, 100%. So, amateur dad DIY, what are your thoughts about making extra monthly mortgage payments compared to that payment invest? Yeah, it's a great question, man. Hey, I think about this all the time because I'm doing it. I'm making extra mortgage payments, and I wish I had a bigger portfolio. I have tons of equity, but I still got a mortgage. But in hindsight, my brother from another mother, in hindsight, I wish I would have not paid all the extra equity in my house and just been plowing into the freaking my investment accounts for the last 15 years. 10 years, something like that. No, we've been here since 2013. So, I've been making an extra $1,000 a month, sometimes $3,000 a month payment on my mortgage, something like that. I can't remember, 500 or something. I mean, it's literally worst case scenario is 500, but it's usually been over $1,000 a month extra. If I would have been doing that since, let's see what that would have been. So let's just say let's say 750 for giggles here. That's my payment. We got 12 is our payments per year. All right. And so we got 12, we're going to say for 100, we'll just say 10 years, 120 payments at, we'll say what the markets do over the last 15 years, 15% a year. Crazy. 750 is my payment, zero present value. I'd have $206,000 more in my account. Just doing that, if my numbers are right, and they probably aren't, but we'll just run with it. That's 206,000 I don't have. Now I have that equity corresponding, not quite that much equity. So basically, I've been paying. How would I do this? So let's say my mortgage rate is, we'll just say for simplicity, 5% is the interest rate. That'd be 120 payments. 750 a month payment. How did I figure out it's not really a future value. I'm not sure how I figure out net present value there. So I don't know what would I do there? I'm not sure how to do that. In terms of amortization, how much did I pay off I don't know how to do that. I have to figure that. I think that through. I'm just trying to think how much equity I built in the house relative to the 206. We got some smart people here. I'm not one of them. Relative to the 206, I would have done by that extra 750. Anyways, that's a good question, brother. And this is for me. There's some guy just posted something. Who was it? I just saw on LinkedIn, I think. Some guy just posted about paying off their mortgage, even though it was like sub 3% or something like that. I forgot. Was it Devin Carroll? I think it was Devin Carroll. Yeah, let me look him up. I think Devin Carroll posted that. And I said, that's a pretty good, I want to go to LinkedIn. Devin. Is there any worse city in the United States than Houston, by the way? I mean, who wants to live in Houston? I mean, really, Houston, like, yeah. I mean, is anyone on? No one on this channel lives in Houston, because that way you wouldn't want to. Who would want to live in Houston? Yeah. Job confidence is the lowest in years. LA fire approaches busy highway. Hiring surge in December. Okay, I believe that. Let's see. Let's look up old Devin. Devin. Devin Carroll. Was Devin always a CFP, or just get it? I see right here. Here's Holly. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Did Devin just get a CFP? I don't remember. I don't recall. I just don't remember Devin being a CFP. But it says CFP now. Maybe it was. CFP. We can't effing produce. That's what we used to say. So here's Holly Johnson, an award-winning writer. Okay, she goes, a piece I wrote yesterday about prepaying my low-rate mortgage went live today on Business Insider, and people are losing their minds. I've received multiple messages from people, all male, today. All of them took the time to look up my contact so they could tell me I'm doing it wrong. Yeah. Some. Why? I bet they're looking you up, Holly, because you're probably pretty hot. Let's take a look here. Oh yeah, because you're looking good, but you got kids there, so I don't know why men would be reaching out to you when you obviously got a husband and kids. But whatever. Some men can be pigs. I know that's shocking, but anyway, so just sometimes it's just embarrassing to be a man. Like, come on, dude. But Holly, let me tell you how you should be doing it. I've been a certified financial planner for 10 years, don't you know? Some of the methods were incredibly hostile and demeaning. Others were nice, but thought I needed an explanation how savings accounts, CDs worked. The whole thing makes me laugh. Do people know you can read something or entirely agree with the shrug and keep scrolling 100%? Anyway, so here's what Devin says here. He's a retirement planning nerd. Oh, Devin, don't say that. Oh, why we? Oh, so. I just can't stand when people call themselves nerds. It's like you're just trying too hard. I love Devin Carroll. I just like, it's not. I'm a nerd. It's like, let's see. We just did the same thing. We paid off our car, a mortgage at 1.85, another mortgage at 3.25. At an average rate of 2.68. On paper, clearly did not make sense. Well, yeah, 100%. So good job, Devin. Don't call yourself a nerd, dude. I just find that silly. Anyway, so what? And that same thing with doing Roth conversions. Same exact thing. On paper, it made no sense for me to do Roth conversions. You can spreadsheet this until you're blue in the face. I get it, but guess what? I never have to pay taxes on my retirement income ever again. The only income tax I'll ever have to pay is if I have earned income from labor. That's it. And if I don't want to pay taxes, I don't need to work. Literally, that's just that simple. And you can make an argument, as I just did, prepaying off the mortgage. I could have more of my 401k, or not my 401k. I could have more of my IRA, more of my brokerage account if I didn't pay my mortgage. I think my mortgage was, I had an ARM, so it was 3.25. Now it's 5.25 is what it is. Yeah, so my ARM was 3.25 for the first 5 years, 5.25 for the next 5 years. So I'm in year 2 of my 5.25 ARM. My intention was to have this sucker paid off when the ARM adjusts again, which will be in 2028, I think. Yeah, 2028. And ideally, we'd probably move at that stage. We'd probably downsize. Well, we'll see. Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, but on paper, it makes no sense. But it does make sense until it does. And when it does make sense is when the markets turn. But I mean, it's just this whole thing. We don't know what we don't know, man. And so for me, it makes a whole lot of sense if it makes you feel better. Trump wants me to go to the inauguration. Should I? Well, apparently JD Vance is not going to the inauguration because Ohio State is playing Notre Dame. Here's this guy. Denise, if someone broke in our house, they would take a look around and leave money for us. Oh, man. Yeah, and I like not Mahomes, but friggin' CJ Stroud. The NFL, and this is what drives me crazy. But dumb jocks, idiot jocks, dude. These guys aren't stupid who play football. I'm just telling you right now. The NFL is the most conservative sports league there is. It is, without question. Because a lot of these people are rural hicks from the South. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, man, the NFL is the most conservative Christian entity that there is, bar none. Not even comes close. And these guys aren't stupid. Yeah, they might, like Dexter Manley couldn't read, but he certainly knew how to playbook. He could certainly understand a playbook and how to think about that. So, yeah, but freaking Mahomes is going to just destroy him. Yeah, look at James spanking that button. As long as you're not spanking someone else, like what's that guy's name? Tubin. Just don't be spanking out like old James Tubin from CNN. You know what I'm talking about? It was Russia. Yeah, exactly. Russia did it. There's no stress, man. Yeah. Hey, look at Penelope. Those people in California, I can't get my head around all that loss. Yeah, but people are like overblowing this. They're like one guy was saying, do you not realize that LA is about to turn hard right because of this? And some guy said, dude, the Pacific, like I'd just follow people on Twitter, on X. The guy says, dude, the Pacific Palisades is like losing a neighborhood in Queens. That's it, relative to New York City. It's like, what, 10,000 houses sucks, but the size of Los Angeles is gigantosaur. You know what I'm saying? So LA County is, what, 10 million people? The idea that Pacific Palisades is going to make all these people turn hard right? Nah, dude. We got David in the house. Look at David. Look at David. Look like a 1980s Starsky and Hutch character. I just bought a new truck. First vehicle payment I had near 30 years. That hurts, dude. Black Rick will swoop in and try. Oh, Black Rock. Black Rick is like, who's Black Rick? Black Rock will swoop in and try to buy a lot of property. Yeah, 100%, man. Our houses have gone up $400K in 30 years. Yeah, look at this guy. Metal Gear Rocket Arm. Yeah, of course you're in Houston. Shocking that Metal Gear Rocket Arm is in Houston when he's talking about Beanie Babies. Look, he diversified Beanie Babies. Yeah, there you go. That's Houston for you. Yeah, that's Houston. Do I have a high yield savings place I recommend? I do not. I just got a money market account at Schwab. Hey, look at my man. The bigger the mortgage, though, is probably a worse risk and more equity. I think a balance between earnings years is best solution. Yeah, I agree. Mike Jackson is on Twitter. What are your thoughts as bonds as part of your 401? I'm a big fan of bonds. In fact, something. But first, I'll look at my man Harry. What's your prediction on the Jay Powell versus Trump saga? I think Jay Powell will stay where he should be. I'm a fan of Jay Powell. Jerome Powell for president, dude, 100%. Yeah, the last thing we need is a freaking Fed. But first of all, we got to buy Tesla shares because these prices are basically giving them away. But I'm a fan of Jerome Powell. I think the interest rates going up are good, and it actually cracks me up when all these people say, the interest is the highest expense now, even bigger than the military. Like, who's getting the interest? Who's receiving the interest off the government debt? Great. This is where the modern monetary theorists make sense. Oh my goodness, no, I'm not an MMT crazy person. But you, just because someone might be wrong in their overall viewpoint doesn't mean they're wrong in everything. The Stephanie Keltons of the world, I forgot, the Wayne Mosher or something like that. You can agree with some things without agreeing with the whole premise. But the facts are, who receives the interest off the government debt? It is us. Crazy as it is, we're getting the interest. It's a wonderful thing. Let the government go in debt so we have more net worth. I'm okay with it, 100%. Can they do it eternally? I don't know. No one knows. I mean, Japan's still out there. I know it's crazy, but Japan is still putting food on the table, still got electricity, still clean. Anyway, going back to Mike Jackson, I'm a big fan of bonds. In fact, I want to show you guys. This is what I was working on. I didn't do a video today or even yesterday. Well, first of all, we had snow yesterday, but I want to share this what I'm working on with you guys. I thought this is pretty interesting. Cute Humor says, I can't do social media. I don't want to fight the women off with a stick. All right, so check this out. These are 10-year averages. Inflation is in, can you all see that? Yeah, you can see that. Oops. My nose itches. Got to stop sniffing the table. Inflation is in blue. Let me see if I can make this even bigger. Okay, okay. All right, here we go. This goes back to 31. Inflation is in blue. S&P 500 is in red. And this is total returns, by the way, not just price. All right, so all these idiots, the S&P is only averaged, or Dow Jones is only averaged, took 28,000 years to come back to Britain. I'm like, oh, come on. Look at total returns, not price point to point, or what's called price to price. That's stupid. And then don't look at the Dow, look at the S&P 500. Anyway, so here's the S&P 500, a 10-year average. So this, what did it do over the 10 years preceding this, or from right here? So from 1931 to 1940, the S&P 500 averaged 6.58%. From 1931 to 1940, inflation over that time averaged negative 1.64. That's what that means right there. All right, and you can see T-bills averaged right there, 0.33. All right, so you can see, so basically of the 10 years averages, 1933, so you can see over 10 years, other than basically right here, 1965, 1960, one second, was that right? I can't tell. It's hard to see. Wait, you can see whatever that year that is. I guess that's 1964. 1965, and a couple years, 66, 67, 68, right in there. And then just a couple years here, right in there too. So basically we've had a couple 10-year time frames where inflation was higher than the S&P 500 for 10 years. And 10 years is a long time, don't get me wrong. But we've only had it once right here, right? And that you can see right in there. All right, so from 1999 to over the next 10 years, the S&P averaged 0.6% a year, whereas inflation averaged 2.84 for the next 10 years. I hope that makes sense. So you can see significant results on stocks relative to inflation and T-bills. Now, the point being, this is watch what happens here. Here's the S&P 500. You can see the prices are going down as the interest rates start going up. All right, prices are going down as interest rates start going up. Now, this is different though. Isn't that interesting? Here, the rates, the S&P 500 is going down while interest rates are going down. Isn't that? This is T-bills, by the way. So the S&P 500 is going down while interest rates are going down. Here, the S&P 500 is going down while interest rates are going up. Here, the S&P 500 is going up while interest rates are going up. So I find that very interesting. And it's not very illuminating because it doesn't tell you anything. It's almost like they're completely randomly correlated. Or completely random, not correlated. I mean, look, S&P is going up, interest rates going up. S&P is going down, interest rates are going up. S&P is going up, interest rates are going up. S&P is going down, interest rates are going down relative to inflation and T-bills. I find that very interesting. And I really don't know what to make of it. So then I said, well, if we go back to, I think I got it. Where do I have this other chart here? I have another one. Yeah, right here. It's just S&P 500 versus inflation going back to 1871. And you can see, other than a couple years right in there, 1911. Oh, wait, that's when the evil Fed came in. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Look at that. We had deflation. Again, this 10-year averages, by the way. Deflation. And then the Fed came along and, yeah. Deflation, mass inflation, Fed came along, and all of a sudden we have had lower inflation. The anti-Fedians or whatever the hell it is. I'm on a X thing. These people arguing with me about the Fed is the cause of all evil. The whole thing's stupid. It's stupid. And they're like, oh, let me guess, you like the Anti-Defamation League because they'll say, rightly so, the Fed was created in 1913. The ADL was created in 1913. A couple other things, FBI or something that was created in 1913. They're like, don't you see? They're all part of the same conspiracy. I said, well, if you would have read any books about the 1800s, you realize how beneficial the Fed was to stability in the United States. In fact, the thing that ticks me off more than anything, guess who was in favor of increasing the money supply to alleviate the Great Depression? Now, this is said in hindsight, but we don't know what Milton Friedman would have said in the midst of the Great Depression. Milton Friedman said we should have expanded the monetary supply by 5% a year to alleviate the Great Depression. Now, I don't think that's true, frankly, but be that as it may, we'll go with what Milton Friedman, the king of monetary policy, said. We should expand the monetary supply. What did the Fed do? They restricted the monetary supply. That didn't cause the Great Depression, but whatever. We can argue all day long that did. No, it was FDR's insane legislation that did, but be that as it may. The argument that the Fed is the cause of outlandish volatility is the exact opposite. The Fed is not the cause of it. The Fed's the reason we don't have like we had in the last century being the 1800s, the 19th century. Anyway, so here's, again, a couple 10-year time frames where we lost to inflation. All right, now this goes back to what I was just saying about my man with bonds. All right, so the nice thing about bonds is if we actually add bonds on this, then we don't get the same volatility here. In fact, I don't know if I can get Wellington on here. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it on the fly. But this is pretty big volatility. I mean, here's 10% for the S&P 500. You can see zoops. But other than a couple times, though, we always beat inflation in the S&P 500. But the way to alleviate this is to add some bonds in there. And so I'm a big fan of having bonds. I own bonds. So I would absolutely encourage people to have some bonds unequivocally. The Fed, the bonds aren't going to be worth anything. And just let's go back. I just want to show you guys something again. If we actually look at T-bills versus inflation, you'll see here's T-bills in yellow. Here's inflation in blue. Other than I wonder what possibly could have been happening in 1940 to make inflation high and the interest rates low. I wonder what could have happened in that basically 5-6 years. But you can see T-bills have beaten inflation almost all the time. Not quite, but almost all the time. So if you are worried about inflation, then just invest in some T-bills. And T-bills will keep up with inflation. Without question. Here's Tom. Howdy, Tom. There's Terry. Howdy. Yeah, Janet's smelling. Maybe the house is in Florida and paying off the house removes the BS insurance. Yeah, but then you're taking on the risk yourself. Dude, I'm telling you, man, look about being Antonio Gates. Been thinking about my reverse mortgage line of credit idea. It makes more and more sense. It's without question. Not having a reverse mortgage line of credit, in my opinion, is insanity. It really is. Now, if you got a big enough investment portfolio, by all means, you don't need to. I don't. But not having that line of credit, especially now, because they're going to nip them in the bud. You can see it a mile away. There's been no legislation on this, and no one's even proposing it. It is such a game changer. It's too good to be true, essentially, but it is true. So at some point, they're going to nip in the bud, just like they did with file and suspend for Social Security. At some point, they're going to make us all pay tax on all of our earned income, just for Social Security benefits. That reverse mortgage line of credit, not to get that started. Now there's a couple reasons you wouldn't. I mean, first and foremost, that you're not going to be in the house very long. If you're going to be bouncing around from house to house, well, don't do it. That'd be stupid. But if you're going to be in your forever home, you know what I'm saying? You're freaking, van down by the river, you and Chris Farley, and you basically just got the Navy, if you know what I'm saying. So you hang out with Chris Farley, then freaking get a reverse mortgage line of credit. If you never use it, more power to you. They're a scam. They'll put you out. They'll put you out. The reverse mortgage never put anyone out of his house. Penelope, I think Vance was saying a jokey joke. Penelope's in California. It's kind of live. We love Penelope here. But some of these libs in California, they don't got that good of a sense of humor. They don't take jokey jokes very well. They're like, what? Penelope, I'm totally goofing on you. Penelope is the star of the show. Jeffrey Toobin, you know what I'm saying? Jeffrey Toobin. No, that's what Vance said. Hey, Angie, that's right. Angie's in freaking California. Yeah, you guys are out of power for a while. That's not that expensive to set up. I always find that people. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't remember what it costs. Let's say $15,000. I doubt it costs that much, but let's just use that. $15,000 for a line of credit that grows and grows and grows with the interest rates for the rest of your life, man. Whew. Hard right is better than hard left. Hard cash is better than both. Look at my man Mike on Facebook with that, whatever that thing is right there, that monster. Happy New Year to you, brother. I think inflation is going to be higher than what a lot of people think, actually, which bothers me because I've always been a deflationary type of guy. But the facts are the facts. I look, man. And when I say inflation, I'm not saying CPI per se. I'm saying the cost of goods. I think that inflation, relative to the cost of goods, I think the pessimistic in me is that Trump is going to have a hard time solving much that was anticipated. Just like every president comes. I mean, look, dude, the reality of Washington, D.C. is it moves slow. And thank the good Lord for that. You know what I'm saying? As such, there's going to be, you can't just, Washington, D.C. doesn't create the problem as much as I think a lot of people think. When it comes to energy policies, it does. Don't get me wrong. Energy policies governed from D.C. are just horrible, without question. And energy is what causes inflation, bar none. End of story. Are there other aspects of inflation? Yes. My daughter's texting me. She's. Hold on a second. What is she saying? Oh man. Oh, that's cool. One of her boyfriend's uncles is from Tampico, Mexico, and he owns a cattle ranch down there. That's cool, man. Tampico. We had friends from Tampico when we lived in San Antonio, and they were telling us how they had to go on some app to see where the cartels were on their way to school, because they basically said, yeah, this is like, you didn't know if the cartels would be blocking off this road or that road, so you had to look on an app. I was like, man. Anyway, so even though I'm a long-term deflation guy, I do think inflation in the next couple of years will still be quite high. Enough to damage Trump politically, for sure. And that sucks because he can't just wave a magic wand and make the price of bread go down. So you know what you should do? Ooh, let me show you. I'll be right back. You know what you should do? Hang tight. Ooh. You done watching? About my homemade bread. So you know what you should do? You should make your own bread. Oh, I made this today. Look at that. Whoa, okay. Oh, Bob. Pablo comes running because he sees he got food. Oh, it's so good. Yep. Working on sourdough starter. I'm having fun. Look at Pablo. Pablo, you are. Oh, man. Look at that crust. Look at it. Get. Pablo actually, he actually hasn't eaten in 5 years. So you should make your own. It's very, very simple. If I can make bread, you can make bread, dudes. My man David on Facebook kept showing me these sourdough. That's not sourdough bread, but I'm working on it. But he kept showing me this. As I did, you really start pissing me off with your bread making skills. You just try it. It's not hard. Just try it. So I was like, I'm trying it. Anyway, so that's you should make your own bread if you want price to go down. Now, my goodness, dude, you get like yeast is incredibly cheap. The dough isn't very expensive. Just it's very, very, and a little bit of salt. It's fun. It smells good. All right, dude, this guy, you have to give this guy, if he keeps, let's see, love Bonds, right on. Yeah, Bonds looking good, says Andrew. Yep, Dan, my man Dan says he loves Bonds. Happy New Year, but got to go out to dinner with a friend, says Ted. All right, Ted. Thanks for the chocolate, brother. Ted sent me some chocolate from Maine. Let me tell you, I freaking gobbled that down in 5 seconds flat. It was so good. Younger generations are getting crushed with high rates and high prices, Josh. Think of your kids, Jen. Well, but they've been subsidized for many years. The elderly have been paying for the low interest rates for many years. So we can have this. Right now, the interest rates aren't extraordinarily high. They're just not. I'm sorry. This is a good, happy medium. We've had high interest rates in the 70s, 80s. That was bad for young generations. They seem to get by okay. We've had very low interest rates for the aughts in this decade, the decade previous. And that's the elderly subsidizing the low interest rates because they weren't getting anything on their money. So now we seem to be a happy medium. We're not paying double-digit interest rates. A 5%, I'm sorry, a 5% CD isn't going to take money out of the pockets of my kids' generation. It's not. A 6% more. My first mortgage was 7%. All right. And we got by. So I hear this like the interest rates are too high. Where have you been, man? Where have you been? The interest rates aren't too high. This is a good happy medium. About 5%, 4.5%, 4.5% 10-year Treasury, 5.5% 30-year Treasury, maybe even 6% 30-year Treasury. That's a good happy medium for the country to be in. Yeah, the interest rates are higher. Unequivocally, they are. The interest rates were too low to begin with. Absolutely, they were too low. And now we can reward savers for the first time in basically 20 years. And as such, there'll be more hesitant real estate speculation. Just will be. I'm very keen with it. And man, it's weird. How did we get by at a 7% mortgage? Could we afford our house? Yeah, we could. But we had a 7% mortgage. I wonder if anyone could buy a house in the 80s when mortgages were like 12. Yeah, I don't think anyone owned a home in the 80s when interest rates are 12. I think that was impossible. I think it was impossible. Oh, and by the way, the median income relative to the interest rates was much lower than it is now as well. So I guess everyone was just out there sleeping in the barrels. They didn't have a place to live in, like sleeping in a box. Because no way the young generation of baby boomers could afford an interest rate when mortgages were 12%. What's on my mind? We're 1.5 weeks into 2025. New Orleans tragedy. Isn't it funny how they had that crazy reporter in the New Orleans house, but we still don't know anything about the Las Vegas shooter from 7 years ago at the Jason Aldean show? Do I think Social Security taxes will be indexed? Yeah, 100%. Unequivocally, Joe. But absolutely. Yeah, look at Harry's back. Harry's back and being a ramble. What has a little snow got to do with doing a video? I think Trudeau was still there. That's the problem. Yeah, Josh, a Mainer, it snows in Georgia. He's stuck inside and didn't make videos. He's retired. I did go outside for like 5 seconds. Yeah, right. Return on investment on a house around 3. It's about the rate of inflation. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's where we are right now, man. We're about 4.5% on 10-year treasuries. Perfect place to be. I can see pics of the fires in California across the room on my TV. It looks like what I would think hell would look like. Yeesh. Yeesh. I think mortgage rates are at 7, actually. Travis says, what do you think about reinvesting dividends in the cash bucket instead of reinvesting a 2-bucket approach? I think reinvesting dividends into stocks because that guarantees you dollar cost averaging. Come here. Which just means when the prices go down, you're buying more shares, for a cheaper price. So I don't like not reinvesting dividends. Cooper the Great says he hates bonds. Man, you gotta be a hater. My man Freddie says, I don't think anyone over the age of 45 should have any bonds. Wow. Yeah, I think so. Looks like the Oilers are off and running. Houston Oilers are the best. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so let's go into why not a HELOC. All right, who wants to tell Moto Gravel why not a HELOC? Anybody? Uh-oh. Who wants to say why not a gravel? Why not a gravel? Why not a gravel? Where did that come from? I see someone say gravel in here or something like that. No. Why not? Why? Oh, his name's Moto Gravel. Because a HELOC, you have to pay back. You got to pay back. Reverse mortgage, you don't have to pay back until you vacate the house, either by death or by sale. A lot of people think this HELOC is this wonderful tool. I have a HELOC. I love it. But you have a monthly payment on the HELOC. And depending on what kind of HELOC you got, it could be 1.5% of the principal balance. And that's how they underwrite you, generally speaking. 1.5% of the line amount to be underwritten. All right. So I'm just telling you right now, guys, a lot of people think I got a lot of equity in my house. That doesn't mean you're going to get a large HELOC. I used to be a banker. I used to do this all the time. We'd underwrite you as if you could afford 1.5% on the borrowed amount on the line amount. All right. That's a pretty significant nut there, guys. So a home equity line of credit says, hey, I got a $100,000 line available to me. Can I afford, was it 1.5%, $1,500 a month as a payment on that guy? That's the way they'd look at it. I don't know how they underwrite it. It's been 20 odd years since I've been in banking, but that's how we used to run it. And I can guarantee you it hasn't got any more liberal on that. I can't guarantee that. So a lot of times people with tons of equity who are retired would come, they want to get a home equity line of credit, and we'd only be able to offer them $40,000. They're like, well, I was hoping to get 80, 90, 100,000. Can't do it. You can't afford the cash flow. They're like, my minimum monthly payment is what? Yeah, well, your minimum monthly payment is $200 or $300 a month. But to be underwritten, you got to be able to cash flow 1.5% of the line amount, not the borrowed amount, the line amount. I'm just telling you, man. And as such, you're not going to get as big a line of credit as you thought you were. On top of that, a home equity line of credit does not grow as a line of credit for the reverse mortgage does. On top of that, a home equity line of credit, you still have to pay back. It's just a fact. Literally. And on top of that, you don't get to write off the taxes. Theoretically, you could, and you can't really anymore. And you're not going to be able to write off the tax anyway because the vast majority of people don't itemize anyway. Reverse mortgage line of credit, you're not even, it all comes back to tax free anyway. That's why. So I just don't get the animosity towards reverse mortgages. It's weird to me. Yeah, Pablo. Look at Drewski. Drewski's, what about healthcare? Drewski's thinking the Vikings are going to go down in flames. You missed Pablo's S&P 500 for the predict. Yeah. Is it okay to have a conservative Roth? I mean, it's okay, but why would you have a conservative Roth? Hey, I mean, if you have a pension and Social Security, you want your Roth to be your barn burner, man. We get that sucker growing. Absolutely. Because it's tax free. I'm hoping the Ravens lose against the Steelers, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the Steelers look very good. Yeah, her boyfriend, I should have said. Pfizer released side effects, and Zuck is starting to sing like a canary to stay out of prison. Yeah, 100%. This is crazy. Yeah. Oh, what kind of bread you make, Angie? I like how you say artisan bread. Like we're artisans. Oh, ooh la la. Look, Angie, she's artisan. She makes artisan bread. I just make white trash bread. All right, that's it. White trash bread. I'm not artisan. Someone's hungry. Yeah, it does want a piece of that bread. Probably looks like a bit like Triumph. The bank. Oh, Triumph, that dog thing. Need bread. Visit Palm check action. I had to stop making sourdough, man. Dude, I love I just, man, bread just smells so good. It just tastes so good, especially when it's drilled. Look at that. Oh my. Especially when it gets drained in butter. Oh, 100%, dude. 100%. Yeah, well, I look, dude. I agree with that. That's why I try to walk or afford. That's I work out every day. That's why I try to stay in shape by working out every day to burn off the crap I like to eat. And I like to eat bread. No one's taking me away from that. I'll tell you that right now. There is. Um, I think I'm pretty happy with my bread making experience, and I enjoy it. I like the taste. It tastes good. I also, you know what else is good? Make instead of using water, make it with raw milk. Ooh, raw milk is good. Yeah, remember it's 10% CDs exactly. Yeah, me and Andrew have been going back and forth on X, or LinkedIn or X. I can't remember about this because I think Andrew's mixing the boat, man. I do. I think he's making mistakes on this. Where his, I mean, he's right with his thinking that he's calling it not fair to people who are on uncovered jobs. But I said no, because essentially what's I don't want it's going to be too complex to get into. But basically, he's saying now it's not fair to people in covered jobs. I said that's not true because they are getting what they're entitled to. What happened before the Social Security Fairness Act is you were literally taking money away from people who were entitled for that money. You were reducing their benefit. You're reducing their own benefit, their spousal benefit, and the spousal survivor benefit incredibly. Literally, that's what you were doing. You were taking that away from them. The people who are full cover benefits aren't getting as much relative to those other people. I get that, but they're not being reduced. They're getting what they're entitled to. The other people were being reduced at $550 for their own benefit or 2/3 of their pension with spousal or survivor benefit. And that's a difference. That's not being unfair. That's just not. Because the other thing was they were literally being penalized. You're being penalized for having a private sector job and then going to public sector. And now they're not. And so, I mean, um, it's on mute. Boating on here? 610 boating? I didn't see him on here. Is he on here? Oh, there he is. It's commercial break, so I check my phone. Hey, nerds, get off YouTube and watch the NFL playoffs. Housing prices are the problem. Well, they've always been a problem. I mean, I remember, everyone remembers this. You'll remember too, Lee. When you bought your first house, you're looking at a couple of neighborhoods over. You say, man, if I can only afford those houses over there. I mean, we all had that. At some point, you got to start with a starter house. This is the houses today are significantly bigger, significantly more amenities than the houses in previous generations. Just a fact, man. These are just factual pieces of evidence. That's just they're bigger, significantly bigger, and they have more amenities. Without question, they do. And as such, they're going to be priced more. And there's less houses being built relative to demand, so that makes the prices go up. The supply and demand. On top of that, that's why insurances are going up because the price to replace these houses are more expensive. And I thought by the way, I always thought with the immigration that keep the labor costs from eating us. It's weird. I was just reading this article by Pat. It wasn't Pat Buchanan, but by his group there that he used to write for. Was it not the American Conservative? It was called. If I can find it. What was it called there? I can't I thought I had it on here, man. No. Oh, here it is. It's the Chronicles right here. Chronicles. We were right about immigration, and my man, this is Peter Brimlow. You might be familiar from him because he's a legend. One unique point I made in my 1992 National Review cover story: there's no economic justification for the modern massive immigrant inflows. It may increase GDP, but virtually all of that increase is captured by the immigrants themselves. American workers do not benefit. In fact, they are disadvantaged because immigrant wage competition shifts income within the native-born community from labor to capital. Let me read that again. American native-born American labor are disadvantaged because immigrant wage competition shifts income from within the native-born worker from labor to capital, i.e., they don't have to pay the laborers as much anymore, and thus the business owners get to retain more profits. Let's see. There are more than 30 years of economic studies to back up my point up now. But I have to say that despite all the evidence of immigration's harmful effect on the economy, I have made absolutely no impression. Both Canada's liberals and Britain's conservatives, as well as both Republicans and Democrats in America, have rationalized allowing the recent immigration surges on the grounds to stimulate economic growth. Of course, these surges were not really motivated by economics. All these governments simply hate their own nations. The Biden administration, needless to say, has not even bothered to offer any economic rationale at all for its enabling of an unprecedented immigration surge. So all these laborers were supposed to keep wages down, and yet the price of everything has gone through the roof. Explain that. We've been sold. The Republicans suck. At least Democrats did it for economic power, for political power. Republicans were 100% was sold a bill of goods that immigration keeps wages low, makes things cheaper. It just did not. It did not. And I did a video on this a couple years ago. I looked back into the newspapers.com. I said shortage of nurses. They've been saying a shortage of nurses going back to the 1950s. 1950s. We've had this mass increase in immigration of nurses because there's a shortage of nurses. They've been saying that, and yet here we are, still are, all these years later, shortage of nurses, and nurses are getting paid back. It's crazy. Here's Biden's Council of Economic Advisors, Jared Bernstein. He said, one thing we learned in the 1990s that was a surefire way to reconnect the fortunes of working people at all skill levels, immigrant and native-born alike, to keep the growing economy is to let the job market tighten up. A tight job market pressures employers to boost wages, offers, and keeps the workers that they need. One equally surefire way to short circuit this useful dynamic is to turn on the immigrant spigot every time some group's wages goes up 100%. It's let's see. Here's Tom Cotton. Kamala Harris didn't have to go all the way to Guatemala or Mexico to find the root causes of this border crisis because they're not there. The root causes are in the White House, 100%. But it's not just for Biden. I mean, the Republic. It's just the whole thing's so freaking stupid. The whole thing's so stupid, and I don't know why. I mean, look, this is crazy. Here's my man Harry. Right here. I had a 9.5% mortgage on my first house in 1988. Obviously, you didn't buy it. You could not have bought it. Excuse me. Right here. It's a three-headed monster killing kids, buying houses, interest rates, time insurance, times taxes. Property tax. I mean, I hate to say it, but sometimes you got to move to buy the house you can afford. Shocking. Sometimes you can't buy the house you want in the inner suburbs. Sometimes you have to buy out where, and you have to commute. Crazy. Let's see. Jill says my house mortgage was 8.5%, but prices were much lower. I think the credit card rates are what needs to be less. I don't disagree with that at all, Jill. Cap at 10%, like Trump says. I completely agree with that. We got some snow yesterday, but no more now. It's done for. Hey, my man Marsh. Hey, Josh. We finally got 2 inches of snow. Very little snow this year in Maine. Now that you said, it's going to come back around and kill you. And I say kill you and being facetious, bots. Being facetious. I'm just saying, kill his ability to go drive or something like that. Interest rates for mortgages 20% the year I graduated high school, says Steve. I saved around $100,000 cash and moved it to Figs. In a brokerage, since we're in a new year, should I move it $8K to my Roth account? I would, but I don't know what Figs is. I guess I don't know what that is, but yeah, why not? And this guy says, I'm awesome. By the way, have a good rest of the day. You too. You too. I am awesome, man. Trust me. You just got to tell my wife that, dude. Maybe she'll see that. I put 5% of my portfolio in crypto years ago. Now it's 15% of my portfolio. 45, no kids. And I'm okay if I lose that 5%. Am I crazy to let the gamble roll? I wouldn't let it roll. I'd take the gains, but that's just me. Don't listen to me for investments. I'm just conservative. I just am. I am. So don't listen to me. I would never touch crypto with a 10-foot pole. I never will touch crypto with a 10-foot pole. If you increased if portfolio is growing that much to be that big of a portion of your money, I would take the gains and keep the 5% in there, man. I don't get why people don't take the gains. Weird, but that's okay. You have to be right here. Yeah, here's Jill. Exactly. They can change fast or cut. Like 100%, Jill. The HELOCs, they changed their line amount they available to in 2008. I had clients who were relying on that, and they got cut because they didn't have any more line of credit available to them. Can they do the same on a reverse mortgage line of credit? Sure. I don't know. I imagine. But this idea that HELOCs are the alternative to a reverse mortgage line of credit, there's as if HELOCs have no underlying issues. There just are some. Reverse mortgage and Social Security. So for me, it's going to be reverse mortgage. It's not. I don't know. I mean, for me, it's going to be Social Security in my Roth. But I like what you're thinking here. Reverse mortgage and Social Security at age 62. Leave your stocks invested. 100%, man. It's risky, but reverse mortgage will be outlawed one day. I don't think they'll ever be outlawed because there's so much equity that people have in their homes that they have to have a way to tap into it. They got so much more equity in their homes than they have in stocks or bonds, investment market. So it's not going to be outlawed. The question is, reverse mortgage line of credit will never be. 10 years from now, it's not going to be the way it is. No way. I mean, I'd be stunned if it were the way it is today, because it's such a good tool, man, without question. Am I saying it's a bad time to retire? No, never saying exactly. My man Harry. I buy one. Is anyone shocked that Pulverizer buys Wonder Bread? I only make poor people bread. No one's surprised that Pulverizer is actually using the Wonder Bread bags to keep his shoes dry in the wintertime. Bread machine, for what it's worth, FTW. I have a bread machine. I did not like it. I only used it a couple of times. I was very, very disappointed. I have one of those KitchenAid la-di-da standing things. Dude, that thing works like a charm once you figure it out. I have 125. I have 125 HELOC with 106,000 on it. Payment is $850 a month. If I don't make a payment, it increments. It increases the balance, but I'm not old enough for good to think about 4 years down the road. Yeah, look, I'm not saying don't get a home. I have a home equity line of credit, and I have a sizable available credit on there, I like that, but they're two completely different things. I don't think you can get a home equity line of credit with a reverse mortgage. I don't think so the reverse mortgage will not be subordinate to another mortgage, be it a first or second mortgage. So remember, a home equity line of credit is considered a second mortgage, right? You got your primary mortgage, and you got your second mortgage, home equity line of credit, or home equity loan. A reverse mortgage won't be subordinate to either of those two. A first mortgage always has to be first, always. All right, so you cannot carry a first mortgage if you have a reverse mortgage. The reverse mortgage must pay the first mortgage off, has to. So the question is, will your home equity line of credit, the bank, allow itself to be subordinate to the reverse mortgage? I don't know the answer to that. Subordinate just means it takes secondary behind the, if you ever go bankrupt, if they have to call the loan in or something like that, the reverse mortgage gets paid first. That's what being subordinate to a reverse mortgage is. So in theory, I don't know this to be true. I don't know. But you can have a reverse mortgage line of credit and a home equity line of credit too. Like I got a primary mortgage and I got a home equity line of credit. My home equity line of credit, the line is not huge, but I like it. And the amount outstanding is not very much. But I've still got to pay it down. So, and I can't write off the interest off it. What is 2024 filing? I don't know, what is 20? I don't know what that says. Here's Angie. Well, we can't all be ordered. Nothing bad about eating homemade bread every once in a while, as long as you move and don't. Yeah, what I'm saying. What's nothing wrong with eating every day, as long as you move. Read his article, Jill. I mean, he makes sense. I mean, his article is spot on. He's basically saying that at the end of the day, if you took two people, one at 72,000, these two teachers, one at 72,000, who's 100% covered, and one at 72,000, based on 100% of those $72,000 of wages is covered by Social Security, a la tax. The other, only 10,000 is covered by Social Security, so only 10,000 is subject to Social Security tax. He makes sense. The issue is he's saying it's not fair because they have more Social Security benefit for the people who are working in a public pension system as opposed to the people who didn't. And it's unequivocally that is true, 100%. Where Andrew where he misses, just my opinion now, where he misses the point though is they're literally taking money away from people who they're not adding to it. They're taking money away from people who had under the law should have got, well, not under the law because the law was different, but they said we are going to take your benefit away solely because you chose to go into public service. That's not good. The other people aren't getting anything taken away. They're just receiving what is theirs right benefit. But the other people are getting money taken away. The people who are what's called non-covered. And that's where the unfairness. Now you can say, well, it makes a good argument, but then that's another thing that bothers me. He compares two teachers making $72,000 a year. The problem with the WEP and the GPO is that the bulk of those people are primarily in southern states, not making nearly the same kind of income those are in blue states, California, New Jersey, and New York. As such, to compare a 72,000 employee in Texas, a Texas teacher, versus a 72,000 employee in California, those two things don't exist. Right? The California is making well above that. The Texas one is making well below that. You could say the average 72,000, but the reason they average 72,000 is because the California one is making 95, the Texas one is making 50. And as such, you can't make these apples to oranges comparisons saying we have two teachers each making $72,000. It's just not true. And then he'll go on to say, well, the public pensions, he just uses a lot of arguments that are somewhat, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say deflecting, but it's kind of like, yeah, okay. He'll say public pensioners on average get a better benefit than 401ks. Again, that may or may well be true, but that's not relevant to the point at hand. I said that could be true. Because I'm talking about the people who are affected by WEP and GPO primarily are in southern states, primarily didn't have much income, and their pensions aren't very high. And as such, that's all they got. And on top of that, they're literally not going to get anything from their GPO, which is government pension offset, their survivor benefit because of how it's set up. And I said, so basically they're being literally discriminated against because they went to public service. And we can argue all day long, well, they're not really in public service. I get that. Teachers, look, I get all that stuff. However, it's just wrong to sit there and say we're going to compare these two people. I say wrong. I think it's a stretch to compare these two people as if they're two of the same units. They're just not. They're just not. A teacher in California and a teacher in Tejas are not making the same kind of scratch. Their pensions are completely different, and you cannot make a comparison between the two. And he did that, and I say called him out on it because I don't think he was doing it nefariously at all. I think it's a stretch to say here's our examples to argue against getting rid of GPO and WEP. And I just think it's wrong. The additional catch up going to the man, that's weird. I don't know, man. That is weird. Why stopped at 63 and 65. I paid self-employment tax while I'm paying into my pension. I pay higher taxes than a W-2 employee. Well, the reason for that is because you can write a bunch of more stuff off. I don't know if you did actually pay more tax than a W-2 employee. I don't know why you would. Oh, well, because you're paying both sides of Social Security is why. Absolutely. I mean, you are literally your employer and your employee. But as a W-2 employee, you can't write anything off essentially. As a 1099, you can't. I'm a 1099. Well, not a 1099 employee. I'm self-employed. I guess you call me a 1099. I don't write hardly anything off. I just don't. And people say, you should write all this stuff off. No, dude, I'm very comfortable. Give to Caesar what's Caesar. Give to God what's God's, man. That's what I do. They tell me once you retire, you can't do anything but get fat by eating bread and falling asleep on the couch. That's right. Should I really put my RMD at the top of my retirement concerns? I mean, if I pay tax, my income, yeah, 100%. Daryl Q, I completely agree with that. Daryl Q. I mean, literally, why would you put it on the top of your concerns if you don't have to? I don't have any qualm not doing that. If you're making the money, you got to pay the tax on it. Oh, yeah, dude. Republicans are totally controlled oppositions. Yep. Completely agree. Here's Travie. Cali's on fire. Most homes have EVs and wall charges. Tesla have a great year. Stock price should sky. Hey, look at, man. It's like Harry Chu's long lost brother here. Looks like Trav's a white guy on a motorcycle. Harry Chu is an Asian guy who's in New York City. So we got Harry Chu. You looks like you're missing one of your brothers, man. Maybe Harry Chu and Trav are long lost brothers. Tesla should have a stock price should rocket. At these prices, they're basically giving away the shares, as Harry Chu would always tell us. My wife's a nurse. She got $20K raise 2 months ago. Yeah, exactly. But we need more nurses. We've been saying that for years. And we might. I'm just saying we've been using these same arguments over and over and over again. The Uniparty loves immigration. The American wages are not keeping up with prices of essentials. So this is where it gets a little bit suspect here on this, because some wages are, some wages aren't. That's just a fact. So it really depends on what you're looking at. But the facts are the wealthier are getting wealthier. This is not debatable. And this is going to hurt all my Republicans. They'll say, you're not a Republican. I say, I think the wealthiest should have to pay a higher income tax. And actually, I don't want an income tax. I want it to be reduce their preferential treatment on long-term capital gains and qualified dividends and use that money to help shore up Social Security. Oh, it's not Republican. Don't you know how much they pay in tax already? And I'm going to show you something here. Because what has happened is we've transferred income wealth to capital appreciation wealth, which means you have to have capital to get capital appreciation. And so the people with capital, and I'm 100% a free market advocate, 100%, without question. Capitalism in of itself isn't what I'm necessarily advocating. Entrepreneurship, self-employment, absolutely. But the people with capital have got an extraordinary, incredible increase in wealth since Reagan. The people with labor, they have not. It's just a fact. And going back to what Jill says. So some American wages are keeping up, and those are the people who are basically capital-intensive businesses, banking, finance, insurance, all that stuff. So I'm going to show you guys something. And you don't sacrifice your Republican Party ticket to say these things. And trust me, I'll never, ever, ever forget when Ben Stein, remember Ben Stein, Bueller, when he made this argument back in 2005 that we're going to have to raise taxes on the wealthy to pay for these wars. I said, how dare you, Ben, what's his name, Ben Stein? You're not Republican. Dude, look at that. If that doesn't make you happy, nothing. Look at that. My precious. My precious. One second. It's me with my Redskins hat on. How dare I have a Redskins hat on? How dare you, Josh? Don't you know? Oh, by the way, I can't. Don't you know? Here's New York Times. January 2024, the end of snow, 10 days later. I can't read what it says. How can a warming climate increase snowfall? Literally, 10 days later, they said global warming is causing the end of snow. 10 days later, global warming is causing an increase in snowfall. It's like, okay, New York Times. Let's see. Hold on a second. I want to show you something here. Oh, this is pretty funny. You like this one right here. Egyptians were black. Egyptians enslaved Jews. Whites invented slavery. Which one do I press? Reparations. Which one? Oh, my goodness. That's classic. I love memes. Oh, look at the baby. Oh, the baby. So cute. So precious. Hold on a second. Blank. Hold on a second, amigos. Happy birthday to 84th birthday to Dr. Fauci, who helped millions have more birthdays. That's what my Aunt Ted sent to me from Maine. Look at that. That was gone in 60 seconds, dude. That was gone in 60 seconds. Hold on. I gotta find my freaking. Hang tight, ladies and gentlemen. Relax. Ooh, right here. Why is Canada debunking the top conspiracy theories about the Apollo moon landings from a Canadian website? That's interesting. So Canada wants to debunk moon landing conspiracy theories debunked from a UK website. What happened? Why is the UK debunking moon landing conspiracy theories? That's kind of weird. Oh, wait. New Zealand. Why aren't shadows parallel in the moon photos? From a New Zealand website. So all these countries, for some reason, they're talking about the moon landing conspiracies. I'm like, why are you guys so keen on this stuff? It's just weird. I mean, when of these other countries like anything to do with America except when it comes to moon landing? Kind of strange. Kind of strange. Almost like they're all in on it. Oh, by the way, the Corsica or Sardinia flag, Moors. That's when the Moors are trying to. Remember what the Moors were? That's the Sardinia flag saying, come on over here, Moors. We'll show you a thing or two. If that's not badass, I don't know what is. That's badass. That's when Christians had gusto. And those days are apparently long gone. But they'll be coming back. Don't worry about it. Oh, yeah, dude. If that's not badass, nothing is. Oh, yeah. Crazy because what's her name? Elizabeth Warren was saying, what's that guy's name? Pete Hegseth had this kind of cross. It's not that, but a cross as a tattoo. Turns out that exact same cross was being used for Jimmy Carter's funeral arrangements. I kind of found that funny. Said, you guys, the left wing is so. Did my man Marcus Freeman? Look at that guy. 8 kids, that guy. 8 kids. 6 kids. 6 kids. That guy. 6 kids. Marcus Freeman, head coach of Notre Dame. Legend. 6 kids. By the way, how come they don't ask him about being the first Asian coach ever in the NC College Football Championship? They only ask about black because he's half Asian. I didn't even know that, but apparently he is. Weird. They only ask about being black, but not about being Asian. Kind of strange. Kind of strange. Let's see here. By the way, that's a 34 right there. This is what a 34-week-old baby looks like outside the womb. Every Democrat in Congress voted in favor of killing unborn children at this age. That's not a baby. That's not a baby. Take your abortion to pound sand, dudes. A freaking abortion is evil, evil, evil. Here's my man Anomaly. Ben Shapiro and Louis Farrakhan side by side talking about the COVID vaccine. It's still one of the funniest videos ever. 100%. Because let's just put it this way: Farrakhan was on the side of the righteous, and Shapiro was, get the vax, you dummies. Germany already rationing energy. Avoid using electric appliances until after 11 a.m. Good job, Germany. AFD, AFD. We want the alternative for Germany as opposed to whatever we got now. I'm trying to find this one thing right here if I can find it. If I can. Oh, by the way, France does not fluoride as water. France. Do they have teeth in France? Just wondering. Neither does Austria, Belgium, Germany, Italy, Norway, Sweden, or Switzerland. They don't have fluoride in their water. They must not have any teeth in those countries. I'm just throwing it out there. Here's more moon landing stuff. Always cracks me up. This one's always funny. It's weird how the American flag doesn't have there's no shadow for the American flag or the pole. American flag has no shadow. Kind of strange. Kind of strange. Just throwing it out there. Oh my goodness. Because flagpoles don't have shadows, but flags don't either on the moon. I'm trying to find you this thing here, man. That's my boy. Having a birthday when he's 5 years old. He just turned 18. So cute. So cute. All right, hold on just a second. Oh, that's what I want to talk about. Ooh, Maynard James. Not so nice messages for coronavirus deniers. That's the singer for Tool. Think the coronavirus pandemic isn't that serious or perhaps a hoax? Well, Tool frontman Maynard James Keenan has a not so friendly messages for you. Pound the sand, clown. I guess I'm not going to find this thing. So number of flights performed by the global airline industry. The forecast for 20 in millions. You see that? 40 million planes are going to fly. You're never going to get rid of climate change when you allow that kind of flying to happen. Crazy. Yeah, people. All right, right here. This is what I've been looking for. All right. Finally. Check this out. Y'all see that? Nope. Share of U.S. wealth owned by the top 0.01%. In 1929, 10.4%, the 0.01% owned 10.4% of wealth. In 2000, and I can't see what that says, 21, they own 10.8% of it. What do you think they own now? A hell of a lot more, I can tell you right now. This is not the 1%. This is not the, this is the 0.01%. All right? This is, I don't even know what it was, that 1/100th. This is the 1/100th of 1%. They own, probably this stage, 12% of the total wealth in the United States. So going back to Jill's thing here, American wages are not keeping up with prices of essential and everything. Immigration is welfare for third world nations, offload on the American taxpayer, and welfare for the owners of capital. Cheap 100%. Look at Jill. Hey, look at Dan. Dan and Harry. Thank you. I'm also in Oklahoma. Let's get coffee together sometime. Dan, Harry's happily married to a woman, dude. I know you might be seeing things like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of faddish now, but I don't think Harry goes that way. I think Harry's he's a lover of the ladies there, old Dan. But hey, whatever floats your boat, man. Our first house had. No snow in the Philippines, says Charlie. Price is 2 times more than when I bought in South Dakota 4 years ago. That's crazy. I got no problem with CDs. Look at Harry says he lives in Ponca. I don't know where that is. And Dan says he lives in Seminole. Like we're like a dating site for men on this place. Who would have thought your old buddy Josh is hooking up men? But I know that. Let me put it this way. I know what Harry's preference is. If you know what I'm saying. And I'm just goofing on both you gents. Don't get all upset. Now Josh is a bread bag elitist. I invest in wonder for the win. Interest rates are about to go up. Dude, what are you talking about? They've been going up. Supply and demand. Wait till they start with demo and rebuilding Cali. They'll print more money by we'll see. Yeah, right here. Our first mortgage back in 79 was at 10%. Still have the house. Well, I'm trying to get my sourdough starter to work, and it just takes forever, dude. I don't. Why is so? Because Dave is just too proud to admit mistakes. He just is. He obviously he read an article at some point that people were attributing reverse mortgages to putting him out of the house, and thus he attributed the reverse mortgage to be the cause of it, and he can't see the inevitably obvious. He just can't. It's kind of like whole life insurance. I mean, it's like saying, is a coffee mug a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it's a good thing if I drink coffee with it. It's a bad thing if I hit yourself over the head with it. And that's what a reverse mortgage is. That's what a firearm is. That's what a car is. I mean, it's just, that's anything. These are inanimate objects. They're neither good nor bad. They just are. How an individual use them is what's the issue here. All right. I have an active starter. I feed once a week. But that's what I'm saying. For mine, it's like just not. I try. I mean, Mike is. We only keep the house about 68. They're like, so you got to be like 70, 75 or something like that. So I mean, I'm trying. I've been trying to get my starter. Well, it's just water and flour. I'm like, dude, I've been trying that. It just never really bumps for me, man. Maybe because the house is too cool. All right, my friends, we got. My dad had a pension. Was 85 years. Social was moved, but his pension was supposed to be equal to Social Security. That's why they're not allowed to be in Social Security. Well, they're allowed to be in Social Security. Unequivocally, they're allowed to be in Social Security. How much did I invest a month at 28? I mean, I wasn't hardly making any money back then, so I was making $25,000 a year. So whatever 5% of that, I don't even know what that is. My first home was 6 3/4. My second was 3 3/4. My second home was the house I grew up in, built in 78. We bought it back. I remember my parents were saying 13% when they built it, 7 point. Yeah, exactly. but they're not getting Social Security earnings they didn't pay in on. Exactly. That's 100%. 100%, Joe. They're not getting Social Security earnings they did not pay in. That's the whole point. They paid into it. They should get their earnings. 100%. All right. Did you ever hear back from the lady about the married spouse? I have not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I haven't heard back on that. Actually, let me see real quick. Let me go up there real quick. Good question on that. Let me go up that Penelope. Is that Penelope? Yeah, Penelope. Let me go back in there and see. We're going to log in. And we're going to click on that. We're going to log in. Let's go Steelers. I can't believe I'm rooting for the Steelers. I just think the Ravens can be a tough out, and I'd like to see the Bills win the AFC. All right, so let's see if Elaine has search. Search right here. Spousal. Let's go. All right. Oh, she did comment. Okay, cool. All right. All right. Let me start over. Wife is currently on her, this is my question, Elaine. Wife is currently on her own benefit. I'll actually let you guys see what I'm looking at here. Good question. Then we'll end up here, Penelope, because I want to go watch some football. How dare you watch football, Josh? Don't you know it's bread and circuses? I do. I like it. The pulverizer is really upset with me. He says, you can't be a real conspiracy theorist if you like football. All right, so here's my question. Wife is currently on her own benefit, which she filed for when she was 62. A few years later, Hub files for his benefit when the wife is 64. All right, so she filed for her home benefit at 62. 2 years later, Hub files for his benefit. At this stage, the wife is 64, which then opens the spousal window. Because it seems Social Security doesn't automatically adjust, the wife would have to initiate a claim to get the spousal benefit, which is greater than her own. All right? Everybody with me on this? Confusing. But remember, she can't get the spousal benefit until he files for his benefit. All right? The spousal benefit window isn't open until he files. So she filed in year 1. But only in year 3 is she eligible for the spousal benefit, because this is in year 3 when the spouse filed for his benefit, which opens up the window for the spousal benefit. Because it seems Social Security doesn't automatically adjust, the wife would have to initiate the claim to get the spousal benefit, which is greater than her own. However, can she defer filing for the spousal benefit until she's at FRA, full retirement age, in order to receive the full 50% with no reduction? All right, so I hope this makes sense. This is a big question. I'm telling you, we're going to see what she says here. All right, Angie Mad Cat, I do it a 1-to-1 feed, but I feed from the fridge once a week. Yeah. All right. So check this out. This is the gray area where the actual practice doesn't conform to the law. Based on the law, her spousal benefit should start as soon as the husband files for his benefit. We all acknowledge that. So that's literally what we all thought. But if she doesn't apply for it, it won't start. This is what's the word that's interesting. She has to file for it because Social Security won't automatically do that for her. And Social Security is not reaching out to spouses to make sure it does. So Elaine says, I would say yes, she can wait until her full retirement age to file for her spousal benefit in order to receive the full difference between her PIA and 50% of his PIA, rather than it being reduced for having claimed early. Note, the spousal add-on will go on top. Yeah, right on. The spousal add-on will go on top of her already reduced retirement benefit, so it'll never equal 50% of PIA. Because she's not actually getting half of the spousal benefit. She's getting her own benefit plus the extra for the spousal benefit. That makes sense. But anyway, again, the entire spousal benefit, according to Elaine, would not be reduced, even though she filed earlier, if that makes sense. Yeah, we'll see, man. I'm not sure, American Legend. We'll see. The argument, though, on WEP is the overall retirement benefits should be, 100%. That's the argument on WEP, absolutely. But that the weapon only came around in 1983, and I think GPO came around like 1981 or 1977. All right, so these are still relatively newer provisions. This is without question. So it wasn't like it happened from day one. And as such, they added on to it in basically the late 70s, early 80s. And they're still taking away people's benefit. That's the problem. They're taking away people's money who paid into Social Security. They paid into Social Security. They should get their benefit regardless of what their overall retirement benefits are. We can make an argument and say, well, it was always like that. It wasn't always like that, though, in terms of weapon GPO. All right, Harry, see you, man. And Harry, you know I'm just joking when you and Dan are I'm just literally just joking, right? You know that, right? Everybody knows that. I'm being silly. You never know anymore. You're saying, you're saying, no, not. I'm just being silly. I hope that's pretty cool that people can reach out to each other. I get emails on occasion. Like my man Charlie from Philippines, man. Charlie, did you ever link up with the other guy from Philippines? Was it Jeremy? Marsh says a historic position and a historic opportunity in silver. I just sold my 20-year position in silver. I expected to go to 300 in a few weeks. I had to sell since I was getting way too much attention from the spouse. Oh my goodness, that's classic. Marcia said, I held on to silver for 20 years, and my wife was getting too much attention on me for it, so I had to sell, which means that inherently it's going to go up to 300. Dude. Oh, I know the feeling, man. That is fantastic. Oh my goodness, that's good with Marsh. Look, Marsh is bringing the heat from Maine, man. Look, some of these Mainers got a sense of humor. Not many, but some do. Will the government try a 401k offset to lower Social Security checks in the future? That's man, cute humor. Once in a blue moon, you come up with some good thinking here. That's a great position to take. That's a great question. And one I still even argue when it comes to FERS retirement, or how come the government doesn't look at FERS for the federal government and say, hey, you got a FERS pension at $6,000 a month, you should not be entitled to full Social Security. They don't do that. They don't do it for any other municipality who's fully into Social Security. So I know my hair's kind of jacked up. I don't care. That's a great. So they're gonna say, hey, look at all the 401k money you got in there. Cute humor. So we're gonna reduce your Social Security because you have too much money, and we subsidize. In fact, that'd even be a better one because we subsidize it. Show us the Pablo. There he is. Uh-oh. Got text here. Hold on a second. Oh, I thought it was going to be a panda. Hold on a sec. I got to do something else there too. Hold on a second. All right, there we go. Hold on a sec. All right. Matty texted me. Hey, Pop was always in the same mood. Yeah, Stoner. He is the star of the show. American. Means testing for Social Security benefits. Yeah, maybe. How is that going to pass? I mean, my goodness. Chucky B says, I've paid in Social Security for over 35 years. My payout ratio is 30%. Even with WEP, the payout is still more than my payout percentage. Yeah, they paid into it. That's what I'm saying. They just paid into it, man. So it's not. How is it unfair to the rest of you guys? I don't understand. How is it? That doesn't make any sense to me, man. How is it unfair to the rest of you when you're not being denied anything? That's what I don't get. Because people are getting what they are rightfully should get. You can market Pablo CBD. I actually bought some CBD for dogs from whoever advertised on Gavin, not Gavin Newsom. Gavin, I can't remember his name, dude. Gavin, he's a crazy right winger guy. He's funny. What the hell's his name? Gavin something. Anyway, Johnny Appleseed CBD. I bought some for the dogs, and you could see it was funny, but some CBD. They're like, whoa, dude. The argument is quite simple. They paid into it, man. There's no better argument. They paid into it. Gavin McInnes, that's it. Gavin McInnes. I mean, that is the argument here, brother. They paid into it. I mean, it's just that simple. You can say all day long, 100%. Well, it makes them look like they had more money than they did. You can say that for anything. For civilian workers, 401k workers, for freaking workers and FERS pensions. There's a million different things you can say that, but it's only for this one thing. It's the weirdest thing. Never that, but yeah, I don't even care about that. My thing is a political perspective says who is being affected by WEP and GPO? Southern states primarily. Who are the employees in southern states? Primarily Republicans, primarily lower middle class people who are white. And guess what? That is the Republican base. All right. If $550 a month for freaking Mrs. Smith, who is a teacher in third grade for 50 years, is going to make or break this freaking federal government, then I guess we're all screwed. Seems to me that we should say, something, Mrs. Smith, we appreciate your efforts here. We're going to give you back that $550 a month. And by the way, if your husband dies, we're not going to reduce their survivor benefit to basically zero, essentially 2/3 of your pension amount. We're going to give you the whole thing. Because guess what? Teachers in Texas, Georgia, Virginia, and whatever those states are affected by this usually aren't making that huge pensions. Not a huge amount. Not a huge amount. And as such, guess what? Sometimes you got to reward your base. It's crazy. Sometimes you got to say to the people who vote for you, we appreciate you. Let's reward you. It's crazy. It doesn't affect my man. I think this guy's name's Ed, if memory serves. Doesn't affect this guy at all. You're not going to be affected. Why do you care? It doesn't affect you. Well, it's going to ruin the budget. No. If you're going to tell me this is going to ruin the budget, I said, if you looked at how much we're paying Israel, if you looked at how much we're paying freaking Ukraine, you look how much we're paying to Tanzania, wherever the hell we're freaking paying. Have you looked how much we're paying for the Department of Justice or the Department of Defense, Department of Education, all this, to reward your own voter with a righteous amount of money, who are cops too, by the way, firemen, EMTs. These are, generally speaking, conservative, more oriented people. We give $62 million a day to NASA. Yeah, 100%. If you can say, you come back to me first, 100% Texas gamer chick, $62 million a day to NASA. And what do? They just money launder. That's all there is to it. It goes insolvent by a year. 1 year. More insolvent by a year. That's it. 1 year. So it's 2033 instead of 2034. And I don't even care about that. I just care because I've had clients like this, man. Yeah. They should let you trade in Social Security for a few Patriot missiles. I've had clients making $2,500 a month as a Texas teacher. Right wing is a day is long, man. And they're like, no spousal benefit, no survivor benefit, or certainly no spousal benefit, no survivor benefit. And all they're getting is a 25, and then no automatic COLA adjustment, because the legislature in Texas has to approve it. And Texas, being smart, they meet like 10 days a year or something like that. So increasing COLA increases for retired teachers in the front and center priority. And you can argue all day long, well, Texas should increase their benefits. I get all that. But then why can't, these aren't mutually exclusive. We can still make an argument, well, that lady should get her WEP. It's $550 a month for WEP. This whole thing is crazy to me. And I used to be on the side of my man here. It's not fair, the government pension. I said, well, don't we want more competent people in police, fire, EMTs, nurse? I don't know about nursing, but basically the first responders and teachers, janitor workers. Don't we want more competent people? Well, the way to get more competent people is not to disincentivize them to say, don't come to be working here because you're going to lose your Social Security. And I don't care what Ed Weir says. I'm hearing this guy, Ed Weir, just out of nowhere, he's popping up everywhere. I watched one of his videos. I liked it. I thought it made sense. He doesn't like Trump. I know that for a fact. But I don't care. For me, it's quite simple. Because I have an avatar of someone I know who's affected by this. And it's not some bureaucrat. It's someone who literally is affected by this. And I guarantee she's one of many. And as such, Biden Hey, look at my A. Right on. Texas Gamer Chick. Look, conspiracy theories taking care of each other. 100%. How dare you think we didn't go to the moon because Texas Conspiracy Chick or Texas Gamer Chick? How dare you? Don't you know? My dad did not get survivor benefits by his Illinois pension. It was not like he was a stay-at-home parent with no other income, so why should he get survivor benefits? My dad did not get survivor benefits by his Illinois pension. I don't get it. I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm not benefiting from the change, but if they paid in, they should get the benefit. I don't, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Your dad not getting survivor benefits. I don't get it. He's hung up with the 90% replacement rate. Yeah, well, that's the first bend point. That's what it is, Lee. So the first bend point is 90%. If you're affected by WEP, it goes to 40%. And as such, that's what they get really hung up on. But again, that school teacher in Texas getting an extra $550 a month because they got rid of WEP has no impact on me whatsoever. None. And frankly, a lot of these arguments can made a lot of things, but I am not being reduced in my benefit because Mrs. Smith got an extra $550 a month, or she's going to get another survivor benefit $2,500 a month, whereas before she would have got $800 a month. Yeah, well, dude, being a teacher nowadays, you got to be insane to go in that field. Insane. It's crazy. I'm not going to jump through tons of hoops to be a glorified babysitter. 100%. I did too, my man. I took the University of Phoenix had a teacher certification course. I'll never forget it. When I was in Phoenix, we went to an elementary school, Spanish, basically all Spanish kids elementary school to do student teaching. This is back in 1998, 1997. And I'll never forget sitting in the classroom, and I saw with my own very eyes. There's the rabble rousing boys were always getting the attention. And there was this little girl back there, and she had her hand up, and she was to answer a question, and the teacher never called on her because the boys were making the commotion and getting seen first, and this being called on first. I'll never forget that. It really had a big impact in my life. I was sitting there observing, and this little girl was sitting back. I could tell she was shy, and the boys were kind of making jokes and being silly, and the teacher thought I was just like, that's fine, but this little girl had a question or an answer, never got called on. And I can almost guarantee you she never raised her hand again. I can almost guarantee you that. I said, man, it's not good. This is why we need to have separation of girls and boys in schools. Girls should be over there, boys should be over here, without question. Because the boys try to impress the girls, and the girls try to act like they're not that smart. We all know this. The girls like, look at me, and the girls try to pretend, I'm not that smart. You need to have separation. That's what you got to do. Is got to go back to this, man. I tell you, we can learn from Muslims. Unequivocally. We can learn from Jews too. Same group preference. Christians should take the best from the Jews and the best from the Muslims. Don't discount either just because you think Muslims are bad or Jews are bad. You can learn from both. And the Jews are a perfect example of same group preference, without question. And that is a very honorable thing to have, and we can learn from that. Muslims have a very good, strict way of doing things, separating girls from boys into various things. I think we can learn a lot from that. Absolutely. I'm not saying you got to do that in college, but certainly elementary, I would say going up to high school, unequivocally. And to do so would, I think, open up a lot more of just of good quality education. We're not getting here. All right. That's true. You can, all right. So, oh man, no. Oh no. Oh man. All right. So Texas Gamer Chick, her husband died. I'm sorry to hear that. I think she died. I think he died. It sounds like he did. Oh, okay. Look, maybe it's a quadro. Okay, he might not have died. Okay, so he's gonna be signal. Okay. So I'm assuming he's still alive. Okay, all right. I thought he had passed away, and we didn't want to do that. All right, so you got a qualified domestic relations order. I can't remember what they're called. It looks like. Yeah, my brother went to an all boy high school. In fact, in Pinecrest, we have getting divorced. Right on. Okay. My brother he went to Catholic Cheverus High School in Maine, and there was a Bacaulay. My sister went to Bacaulay. My brother went to Cheverus, which is boy and girl. We have an independent Catholic school that my daughter went for 1 year as a freshman called Pinecrest that separate boys and girls. And that's the way it should be. All right, so All right. So the question I got for you is: you have income coming in, Texas gamer chick. I hope you never worked before. So where's your income coming in? Because it depends on your income. If we don't have income, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I would just put them the Vanguard money market account right now. No, oh, jeez, that sucks. Yeah, please tell me he didn't cheat on you for some young floozy from the office. Um, please tell me that's not what happened. Excuse me. Yeah, excuse me, man. Yeah, I don't think a lot of these colleges are going to survive either. Excuse me. Man, I got a frog in my throat. I'm sorry to hear that. Please tell me he wasn't some young floozy from the office. He wasn't a freaking anesthesiologist or something like that. I can't tell you how many clients I've had over my career who's women who got divorced because the husband was making bank, and some floozy from the office battered her. And the husband was getting, they're both getting older. Got, fell for the batting eyes, and now leaving the wife high and dry. Yeah, she might have the house and she might have a little bit of money, but she has no income. Got no Social Security. This is why there's still divorce Social Security payments. Don't get remarried before you're 60, for heaven's sake. Don't get remarried before you're 60. But what are you gonna do for income? You still gotta have the bills to pay. I mean, I can't imagine there's gonna be an alimony. I don't know. Maybe there is. I don't know why there would be, but there could be. I don't know. All right, so don't get married before you're 60. If you're getting married again, Texas gamer chick, be like my mom, and do not get married before you're 60. If you don't get married before you're 60, you still have access to ex-divorce or divorcee's benefits on Social Security, which would be half of his benefit. You don't have to wait till he takes either. I don't want to get in that too much right here, but just don't get married before you're 60. I'm just telling you right now, that's a mistake. All right, part two is you want to find out when this guy's going to die, because you still have access to his survivor benefits. So just keep tabs on it. I would leave him there for the time being. Going through divorce after 37 years, I don't think. Look at my man. He beat that 60 thing. Divorce, remarried after 60. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, man. I mean, you got to take care of number one. You got to take care of number one. Number one is you. Government ain't going to do it. Yeah. So just for the time being, I mean, you're getting close to 5%. You just don't invest it now. I mean, don't listen to me, but the reason you don't invest now is because you got too much going on. The last thing we need is a big market tumble of 25%. And you're like, damn, but whatever. I know it's unethical. It's not unethical. Not unethical. Why do you say it's unethical? Not unethical to take advantage of. So these are rules. We don't make. It's like saying you're poor on paper to take advantage of Obamacare. That's not. We don't make the rules. We just play by them. So I just leave the money market, Texas gamer chick, and the reason I'd leave it in the money market is because we don't want to drop. We've had 2 consecutive years of over 20% S&P 500 rates of return. That is unlikely to continue to happen. All right. Now, I don't know. I mean, it's never happened. Well, that's not true. It did in the late 90s. Could it happen again? Anything could happen, but I would not. And I tell you, and be careful of FOMO, fear of missing out. Just keep it safe, simple, accessible. You're going to have to find an income stream. And that's a challenge, man. I hope you don't have kids. I hope you do have kids. Let me rephrase that. You don't have to get into the details here. Don't share your stuff with the details. But man, I just can't tell you how many freaking clients I've had. When I say how many, I'm not talking dozens. I'm talking enough that pisses you off. Look, have I had other clients where it was the dude who got screwed? Yes. Woman comes back after work one day. He thinks he's happy. Lays a freaking manila folder of divorce paper. He's like, dude, we've been married 32 years. What the hell? And sometimes I found someone else. Sometimes someone else being a woman. Sometimes I found someone else. I just, the same freaking thing. It's the same thing. The same where it's just some evil stuff. And I pray to God that I don't ever do that to my wife, and she never does it to me. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what you don't know. And then, some people go nuts, man. Some people go nuts. And some people are just scumbags. They like a young lady, or they like a guy with more money. Some people say, I like my high school fling. I've known people who are happily married with 2 kids, and next thing you know, their wife has divorced them because she re-met her high school fling on Facebook. It's freaking disgusting. I don't know what an HEA loan is, Larry. I'm not sure what an HEA loan is. I don't know what that is. Thanks. That's a great question. All right, the last question of the night. Let's say quick prayers for Texas Gamer Chick and all those people right now. Heavenly Father, we just pray for those people who are dealing with family issues that were unexpected. Being divorced after 37 years with no income in your late 50s. It's a tough position, tough predicament. Lord, we just turn to you to provide relief, provide help and hope. Yeah, we just pray in Jesus' name, amen. Man, that's it is a pain in the ass, but it's also a wonderful pain in the ass too, man. It is a pain in the ass, but it's a wonderful pain in the ass. Remember, you remember, you like South Park. Remember when Butters, when he was all crying there, and I think Stan was a goth kid. They're like, oh, you want me to put a stiletto heel through your heart, Butters? And she's like, oh. He's like, no, because the reason I'm so sad is because I'm so happy. As long as you don't get married, Marky Mark and the Get Fresh crew. All right, so if everything is covered by Social Security, how dare you? That's impossible, don't you know? It's impossible for all your expenses to be covered by Social Security. Someone should write a book that says you can retire on Social Security. Oh, yeah, I did write that book. Oh, but someone else should. You guys want to see something funny? Watch this. Oh, that smells so good. Oh, yeah. Pablo's, I don't know if you can see this. You can see. I can see his little face right there. Oh my goodness. We had some pizza tonight. I was eating some pizza. I had the crust in my mouth, and Pablo jumped up and grabbed the crust out of my mouth. He's never done that before. Knucklehead over there has done that, but this guy hasn't. Oh, Pablo, you're a Judas. You act like you've never been fed before. Oh my goodness. Anyway, what was I? Oh yeah. All right, so then it's just I mean, you don't need 4 years of money because Social Security covers everything. I still like having money in bucket 1 because it makes me go night. I like having cash. So I don't know how much you got in investments, but there's something nice about $100,000 sitting in a money market. No one has ever emailed me, texted me, called me, knocked on my front door, or stole my dog for an appointment because they had too much money sitting in a money market that's paying 4 or 5%. It's never happened. Now, if that's all you got, you don't need $100,000. But man, a nice round $100,000 in a money market account, oof, tough to go wrong. All right, I get out of here, my friends. I know. I wish brother Chuck B. Me too. Trust me. Like, you don't even love me anymore. All right, let me get out of here. All right, God bless. We'll see you guys. Thanks now.